protect our family.
So Encanto is an animated musical set in Colombia, and it is about this amazing family, all of whom have these wonderful, magical gifts, with the exception of the youngest granddaughter, Mirabel, and our story is about her learning to see herself and her family differently.
Hi everybody, I'm Byron Howard, one of the directors of Encanto, which we'll be talking about today.
And I'm Jared Bush, another director of Encanto and co-writer. And today we're going to be looking at a clip towards the end of the film, which is Mirabel at her lowest moment, where for the first time, she starts to understand her grandmother, Abuela Alma, a little differently, and learns to understand the choices that she has made over the course of her life. All right, so here we're with Mirabel at what's pretty much her lowest moment. The house has just fallen. It's really important to us that Mirabel blamed herself for everything that's just happened. To have Mirabel take it so hard to really see that as her singular failure, we don't know how we're going to ever come back from it. So when Abuela Alma steps in here, she immediately assumes that Abuela Alma is there to reprimand her, to scold her.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt us. I just wanted to be something I'm not.
The sequence was a combination of many different people, myself included, drawing many, many different versions of this moment. And I think we all really, in these story rooms, we all get on the same page emotionally, like we all kind of know what the target is. And we had talked about this scene for years during the development of Encanto, because it was really the most critical moment between these two women.
I've never been able to come back here. This river is where we were given our miracle.
Knowing that it's a musical, we spent a lot of time in this moment with what should it sound like. We dropped out music completely. Even the environment sounds are low, muted colors. We looked even like the speed of the river. We really wanted things to feel very still. And honestly, for there to be a little bit of discomfort in how bald and how naked this moment is.
Where Abuelo Pedro?
I thought we would have a different life. I thought I would be a different woman.
We rarely ask voice actors to put on a funny voice. We really want people to be those characters and to really relate to those characters. And for Maria Cecilia Botero, she's Colombian, so she knows what this moment is saying. She knows about the resilience and the pain and the strength that this moment requires, and what her own grandmother and grandfather went through.
As the non-songwriters, you go like, this feels like it could be a musical moment. You know, something we always talk about is, why does there have to be a song there? Usually it's because there's something very emotional that's happening, that a character can't just say those things. They must be compelled to sing those things. Once we had this sense of like, well, maybe this is a song that a character's not singing, we're hearing it. It is that sort of, it sounds like an old folk song, or it might sound like this is a song that the spirit of Abuelo Pedro is somehow singing a little bit, started to make a lot of sense to us.
The wonderful thing that happens during this song is that it's all visual. It has a beautiful love story of this young couple who had all the hope in the world, and things went very, very differently than they had expected. The research that our teams did on materials, like every loop of that embroidery and the fabric on the bed is so beautifully researched. Every tile is painted by someone by hand. So it's really, these movies are handmade.
It was really critical for us to show the youth of these characters before what we're seeing now, which is the tragedy of their history starting to come into play, bringing in some of the history of violence that many people in Colombia had faced. And that was very critical to them to make sure that that was included in the story. There's an amazing amount of dissonance. The song's telling you that it's not going in a great direction, but you're seeing something wonderful. That tells you like, uh-oh, I'm starting to not feel good. And then you're seeing things get worse and worse, and then extremely tragic as you're still hearing a love song. That combination is something that I think really was the efforts of every department firing on all cylinders at their very best to deliver something that is greater than the sum of its parts. When the miracle happened, Byron boarded this. The candle itself sort of exploded with a butterfly of flame came out of the candle. And it was this enormous 8-foot wide butterfly that used its wings to blow back the assailants that were coming on their horses. And it was this really spectacular thing that was in our film for quite a long time because it was so beautiful. Ultimately, it felt like, okay, well, that's a wonderful moment, but we needed to simplify. The neat thing was we then had this butterfly imagery that was already in our heads. So as Lin went to write the song, in his mind, the greatest miracle of nature, which is that transformation from caterpillar to butterfly. Sometimes these pieces come in and out, but they can inform you in a way that leads you down a path that you never could have gotten to had you not done the early work, even though that early work changes.
Alma decides that she has to leave this pain behind and push it down and become someone else. And this is, I think, Mirabel actually seeing that in her grandmother and seeing her journey.
It's a fantasy space, and we do play a lot with staying true to emotionally what's going on. But, it is a bit of a risk, right? We're changing the dimensions of the house. That's kind of weird. The doors are not in the order that you've seen them in throughout the course of the movie, but emotionally it felt right. But those are risks you take, hoping that the audience will go with you on that journey. And then you're also watching her age, and we didn't want her age to feel extreme. Again, we wanted this all to feel very lyrical and soft as you're watching it, so that you're just really tracking the emotion through all this, leading to this moment where she gets to young Mirabel in a moment where she didn't get a gift. And this is the first time we see this reaction from Abuela Alma, where she's realizing how she let Mirabel down, how she should have been there to comfort her, and how she really lost her way.
Abuela, I can finally see.
So coming out of the song, we talked a lot about what Mirabel is feeling in that moment and what she would say. And, I love that it's sort of wordless. I don't think she knows what to say to her grandmother.
And I love this part so much. I think this is an area where we start to lean into Jermaine Franco's beautiful score, where you're hearing the Encanto theme, the theme of the miracle. And the miracle theme is happening as Mirabel is reacting with empathy, and she's seeing her grandmother for the first time.
I love how beautifully subtle the acting is, and these, even like the tiny little things, like how much the tears are showing up in their eyes, because it's easy to go too far. But I just think when I saw this coming in and it was being animated, I believe in these people. Like, I believe that we're watching real people with real souls, and it's such a magnificent, emotional moment for me.
I think Andrew Ford animated this moment, if I'm not mistaken. He animated both sides, so both characters having this conversation, and didn't worry about camera placement yet. So often in animation, you're with the character that's speaking, but we wanted to be with the character that was feeling, and to see that emotion hitting her face. And so after we actually had the performance, then we chose who to be on camera for what part of that. We knew we were driving to this moment. We knew that the sun was going to come out, they would be in the middle of this river, and that they would be surrounded by butterflies. And we spent a ton of time figuring out how many butterflies did we need. And we kept on adding literally hundreds more and hundreds more. And what are they doing? And what's the murmuration look like? And does it head back? Does it not head back? But I think I remember every single time we saw it, we were like, double the butterflies. And then we saw it again, and like, this is way too many. And we're like, nope, double it again.
It's not just an effect to put butterflies in the air, but to kind of, how do you support that and make it feel like this extraordinary moment?
It's also in the middle of the Caño Cristales, which is this amazing real river in Colombia. That is literally what it looks like. If you went there, that is exactly right. And that's something that I think a lot of people from Colombia who know it were like, I know exactly what that is. And hopefully people that watch the movie want to then go experience that for themselves, discovering that this thing that looks so fantastical is a real place.
I've seen this scene for more than 2 years and I still get emotional watching it. I think just seeing that everyone who touched the scene did such an amazing job, and I think brought their own emotion to it. So it's a huge compliment to our filmmaking team, and just a wonderful song too. I just absolutely love this song.
For me, I have a really hard time separating that journey of creating it and the journey of Mirabel and Abuela Alma, who emotionally are coming together. I don't know that I'll ever be able to separate it, but I do love seeing people that have watched this, and it's emotional to a lot of people, because I think it really resonates for them as well.